demonstrating the brothers, right?
Right.
Okay. Just checking.
The attire was another strategy that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to do for our particular black man in America, especially today. You know, when you think of the first image you see in your mind of a black man, because of news, just like most news, either you see a quote-unquote thug, some of their pants always to the bottom of their, well, I don't know how to walk like that. You see, you know, this criminal image in your mind. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that when you're going out and you put on your best of best, you put on what? A tuxedo. And a tuxedo has a bow tie. And that's your best of best, is a plain suit with a bow tie. At the same time, when you have someone that's a servant, or they're serving you, they also have on a suit, or black and white, and a bow tie. So we're in our best, but we're in our best to serve fellow men. And thus, that's why we wear the bow tie. Now, there are some, and I'm a frank person, so, and the nation teaches us to be direct. In the 30s and 40s and 50s, 60s and 70s, and maybe in the 90s, many African American men were hung with neckties. Okay, so you had your tie on, they would take their tie and tie you to a tree and kill you. So it's impossible to tie you. That's very simplistic, but
Actually, I've got to add a little section here that you just spurred deep into my heart. I grew up in the military as an Air Force brat and an Army brat, mostly just brat. And, and because of that, the military has an effect of changing your culture as well. And I didn't really grow up seeing color in the same way as what someone might if they lived here in Georgia. And so my wife and I, having met overseas in Micronesia and having traveled to various countries, lived there, when we first came to Georgia, and I'm sitting at the University of Georgia taking classes, and someone mentions Malcolm X. I'm not much of a movie person, I don't have time, but I went and watched the story. And I watched the intensity, and forgive me for being so ignorant here, but as a white American man in Georgia, having traveled all these other places, it dawned on me for the first time, watching that movie, that the very county that I lived in, if the trees could talk,
That's right.
the horrendous things that had happened
That's right.
between my color and your color.
That's right.
I was shocked. I was confronted with the history, as you mentioned. And I think for all of us, whether Muslim or wherever you happen to be, we are a very poor people when we forget history.
Amen.
In fact, my one favorite historic teacher, he did have this thing on his wall that says, "Those who fail to learn history are
Doomed
bound
to repeat it."
mistakes." And hopefully things like this will help us to learn from each other and share. I wish I could find a better way to get rid of this. Anyway. Not to. Yeah, that was a very heavy, serious thing. Sister.